are you crazy? A woman in an ad agency? Everyone discouraged me. Okay? Incoming time, there is no outgoing time. It's a toxic environment.
I moved to Jaipur right before the pandemic.
Uh-huh.
So March was the pandemic.
Right.
December I moved. I called up all of them and I was like, okay, so should I come to your agency? Like, is it good? Should I apply? And they were like, don't come here. And every person said, don't come here.
Oh my God.
And I was like, so what am I supposed to do then? Because, and everyone's reasons were the same.
Okay.
It's extremely toxic. We work till 4 o'clock, and this is very usual. People don't even like, people have had their beds here. Like they literally have mattresses here, they sleep there. Sofa पे सबने corners बना रखे हैं कि मैं यहाँ सोता हूँ, मैं यहाँ सोता हूँ, and all of that.
So, hi Pranita.
Hi.
Okay, I am really pleased to have you. Guys, Pranita has come here specifically from Jaipur. Very, very pleased to have you for my podcast.
I'm so happy to be here.
When I spoke to you, I discussed the evolvement theme and everything, and it was just bang on. I said, I don't think I can find a more relevant person to call for this podcast. So, guys, she is somebody, who has really impressed me. She has actually broken boundaries. She has broken stereotypes. From a small city like Jaipur, I think I can't. Sorry, guys. Jaipur is a big city. That is my mistake. My bad. Don't hold it back on me. So for a city like Jaipur, where advertising is a completely male-dominated field.
Correct.
And I found that you have actually made a name for yourself, a mark for yourself. And there were so many things coming out of the way you have handled your agency.
Yeah.
Today, Pranita, we are going to, you have to give me your full time because we are I'm going to decode Pranita now.
Absolutely. From every angle, I am ready.
Awesome. So my first question is, the name of your agency is Red in the White.
Correct.
Okay. That's such an unusual name and I need to know the background for this.
So, before I tell you the background, I'll tell you that this is a conversation starter for each client.
Okay.
So, I can't name my agency. I couldn't have named my agency anything that was very abstract or anything that did not mean anything. Because we do brand naming projects and charge a bomb for that. So, we can't be like, I can't be Bajoria advertising and then have, be charging clients.
Right.
So, red in the white basically comes from white is formed of 3 colors.
Okay.
So, red basically is 1/3 of white.
So, which are the other 2 colors then?
So, that's blue and green.
Okay,
so when the
red,
light,
blue, green.
Yeah, red, blue and green light mixes, it makes white. It makes white light.
Okay.
Right? So, red is 1/3 of white.
Okay.
That is what we believe as our agency is for businesses.
Okay.
So the other 2 parts being one, their core business, and second, their passion for just making it big. So we are the third part of that entire, sphere that they have.
Okay, right.
And why red and not blue and green was because red is more for, like, from color theory, red is more about being bold, being young, being passionate.
Right.
So we thought that was something that was very aligned with who I am and the kind of agency that I wanted to create.
Right.
So yeah, that's why red in the white.
The signals that we have, are, so we have red which says stop.
Yeah, correct.
And, you have green which says go.
Correct.
Literally, in color therapy, it's the opposite. So red is go.
Yeah.
And green is like, okay, take a minute.
Yeah.
Calm down. There's nature, there's silence.
Correct.
And I find that, signals have been so inaptly.
I've never thought about that this way, but this is crazy.
Yeah, because red is meant to be like, now get going.
Correct.
And green is where you're like, okay, take a step back, calm yourself down.
It's very nature, healing, that sort of a zone.
Yeah, because when I was, so I'm into the healing space. When I was actually making my own logo, and you won't imagine my initial colors were blue, navy blue, because I thought, it's intelligent. But somewhere I was looking around me at my own environment, and I had a lot of these greens and yellows and calming colors.
Which is
So evolvement, and this came out कि green is actually the color of healing. You see all your hospitals, they will have those green bed sheets, and so that actually says healing.
Even the doctors,
the scrubs and stuff
and
like
everything
that.
are green. Yeah, correct.
Yeah, that's healing. That's why they have those colors.
Wow.
So this is, I think.
Wow. I've been telling this story for like 4 years now. Okay. Nobody has ever given me this perspective on that. Amazing.
So my mother has been a color therapist.
Okay.
So she was a magnet therapist, color therapy, acupuncture, acupressure. So we had a clinic and stuff like that. So that's why I understand colors more. So now you know.
Then that's cheating. then that's cheating.
Okay, but you know what? In Jaipur, what was the biggest challenge that you faced?
So I think when I started the agency, we were, of course, because we were in Jaipur, the idea was that we'll speak with Jaipur clients and figure things out. The culture of agencies in Jaipur is such that the client is God. Say yes to whatever the client says, whether you agree with that or not.
Okay.
And when I figured out like the prices that agencies were working at, like those were intern level stipends.
Okay.
That's
what they do to retain, to
get clients. So what they were doing was that they were getting like a lot of clients for small budgets, and then they were paying meager amounts to their employees.
Okay.
Like the employees were also paid really bad, right? So I was like, I can't do this. We contacted and we got in touch with a few clients, and I was like, I don't think I'm made for this Jaipur environment. So maybe I don't need to be in Jaipur to work with clients from Jaipur, right? I can work with clients from anywhere. So why restrict ourselves to Jaipur?
Okay.
So now we don't have a single client from Jaipur. All of our clients come from Bombay, Delhi. We've worked with clients, international clients, and we work with mostly clients based in the metros.
Okay. Cool.
So it becomes easier for us that way. And in Jaipur, the entire thing of do what I'm saying, there was a client who once asked me, what are you going to do? So we sent him a proposal, right? For the services that he asked for. He asked me, what are you going to do with so much money? Anyway, you're going to get married to a rich man someday. So why are you charging me so much? And
oh my God.
I was like, what are you saying? How are these words coming out of your mouth, and how are you not ashamed of them?
Right.
So I was just like, I cannot work.
And how long back was this?
This would be about 3 years back.
That's it?
Yeah.
I would assume 10 years back.
Nothing,
or Me Too movement, something.
This can happen, it can happen today.
Okay.
It's like that. So when we talk to clients, there are literally red flag indicators now that we have.
I need to know this.
Where we're like, if a client speaks like this, no.
Okay.
And we work a lot on vibe.
Okay.
So the first discovery call that we have with the client, we're like, we'll figure. Because when, for example, for other agencies, how it happens is, for most agencies, that the client and the agency comes on a call, and the client decides whether the agency is good or not.
That's what they do, obviously.
That's what they do, right? In our case, there have been times when the clients have said yes, and we have said, sorry, we cannot work with you. When we got on the call, we didn't think the vibe matched, and we don't think we'll have a good time working with you. So I don't think we should. But what that genuinely meant is that you seem toxic from the get-go. So, for example, if someone talks over me, when I'm saying something to a client and they derail the conversation or become like, oh, you don't know this, let me tell you. And I'm like, yaar, advertising space hai. If you don't let me, take those decisions, I need to have veto. Otherwise, what is the value that I'm adding to this?
Correct.
If you want to do what you want to do, then you will get a much cheaper agency. You don't have to give me so much money.
Exactly.
So we've had to say no to those clients and be like, I don't think we can work on this together. We don't think this is a good match.
When you're talking about a red flag, so 2 days back, I was having a conversation with a business owner. And you know something, he said the same thing. So he was in the manufacturing space, and obviously they are certain products, and he's got
Correct.
2-3 lines of products or whatever. He said something very interesting. He said, whenever we talk to a client, we quote a very high amount. So he said, because in our space, the biggest problem is collection. People don't pay up.
Correct.
Okay. So their red flag is, if you will bargain, okay, that means you're genuine.
Correct.
You have an intention of paying back.
Huh.
And the client which will not bargain is like, हाँ भेज दो भेज दो.
Oh wow, because they anyway don't want to pay.
Yeah.
Wow.
That is the biggest red flag for them. So he says we quote higher, at least 20-30% higher.
Correct.
And the person who bargains is like genuine.
We only do business with them.
Yes, and the person who's not bargaining is like, okay, like bye bye, see you.
Oh god.
Can you imagine something
That's a very different like way of looking at it also.
Yeah, and you know, it was like, he was very matter of fact. He's like, this is what we do, this is where we are.
Oh wow.
But it was interesting to have a conversation with the guy. I said, wow, you know, so this is something. And Pranita, you know, when I talk about ad agencies, you know, the one thing which sticks in my mind is like, so I remember that I initially, when I started my career, I actually wanted to get into an ad agency.
Okay.
You know, but everyone discouraged me. Okay.
Yeah,
This
that's
was
what we do.
obviously 90s, early 90s.
Correct.
Mid 90s. And they said, are you crazy? A woman in an ad agency? You have to sit till all hours. There is no, you know, there's only a, you know, incoming time. There's no outgoing time. It's a toxic environment. I heard so many things. What has been your experience there? Or was Jaipur different?
No, so Jaipur's the same.
Okay.
But I worked in Mumbai, and you know, so my college was from Mumbai, and then I worked in ad agencies here.
Where in Mumbai?
So I was studying in Mitibai first, and then I worked in The Minimalist. I worked with Law and Kenneth Saatchi. Then I moved to the client side and did all of that.
Oh, nice.
So I was here for like 6.5 years.
Cool.
And I moved to Jaipur right before the pandemic.
Uh-huh.
So March was the pandemic.
Right.
December I moved.
Okay.
And
So
I
it
was
at the very wrong, I mean, yeah, right or wrong
right
time, I can't tell.
because the thing is that my parents live very close to Jaipur.
Huh.
They are 100 kilometers away from here, there, right? And we all kept talking about what would have happened if I had not gone back to Jaipur. My parents would have literally had to drive here to get me back
obviously.
home in that time, because they couldn't leave me here, right?
Correct.
So yeah, in general, when I was working in, you know, ad agencies in Bombay, the thing would be the same. If you're leaving at 6 p.m, it would be like half day le rahe ho kya aaj?
ये क्यों बोलते हैं यार? I don't understand this concept.
And the problem is this is said by the same employees who are also tortured by the same system that we are all tortured by.
It's like यहाँ तो यही होता है.
Yeah.
You know, ये तो बैठना ही है. They might leave early, but you leaving early is just not done.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen that. I mean, you know, in my corporate setup, I remember I used to always be the last person to leave in the team. I think somewhere my accountability was so high, everything would get dumped onto me. Okay, it's like ये कर लेगी, वो कर लेगी, उसको बोलो देख लेगी. Like it's like बाकी का काम है तो भी आपको देखना है. And then the minute one day you want to leave early on time or something, and not early, by the way.
Yeah.
Let's be correct. You're there since 9:30 in the morning, 6:30 you're leaving.
Correct.
It's like, oh, half day.
And your blood boils because you're like, why are you doing this to me?
Oh my god. So it's same in advertising. I think, or I guess
worse. It's worse.
It's pretty worse.
Like
yeah.
3 o'clock, working till 3 o'clock in the night is a usual sort of a thing.
Okay.
And it's very client first. The approach is very client first.
Okay.
So this also inspired me to build my own agency, I'll tell you. So when I got out of Saatchi, by that point I had you know, friends in most of the top agencies in Mumbai.
Correct.
Right? I called up all of them and I was like, okay, so should I come to your agency? Like, is it good? Should I apply? And they were like, don't come here. And every person said, don't come here.
Oh my God.
And I was like, so what am I supposed to do then? Because, and everyone's reasons were the same.
Okay.
It's extremely toxic. We work till 4 o'clock, and this is very usual. People don't even like, people have had their beds here. Like they literally have mattresses here, they sleep there. Sofa पे सबने corners बना रखे हैं कि मैं यहाँ सोता हूँ, मैं यहाँ सोता हूँ, and all of that.
God. Okay.
So I was like, okay, there's no other option. And then I started freelancing full time. After which I launched my own agency. And the first this thing was, we're not going to do this. So we've like literally fired clients to say ki if, like for example, they've talked badly to one of our kids. Then I'm like, sorry, we'll have to let you go. There's no other option on this. Like you can't, if I've never yelled at them. I never speak to them badly. You will never see me like, if I'm angry with them, they will know that I'm angry with them, but I don't need to have like massive outbursts in front of them to show them that I'm angry with them, right?
Oh, wow.
Because they are not there to take that. It's not their burden to you know, take all of this from me. So if I'm not doing that, I'm paying their salaries. If I'm not doing that, you're no one to do this.
Exactly.
So you do not call my account managers at like 8 o'clock in the night. I'm like, what are you doing? Why are you so... Sometimes there have been very funny conversations with employees or interns where someone will message on the group at 9 p.m. and my first reply to them, I never answer their question or whatever they've asked. My first response to them is, why are you working at this time? Go spend time with your family. Go do anything. I don't care what you do. Do anything. But do not work right now. And when they say ki this is urgent and all of this, I literally go to the account manager and I ask them ki if the person does it now, you will still send it in the morning only, no?
Correct.
So instead of sending at 10, tell the client that they will get it at 1. It's not a life death situation for them, but why are we like that? He can't be working at this point. So there is no point where he's working at 8 o'clock in the night. What is the point of this? So 7 o'clock is a deadline for everyone. Ki,
okay.
Go do anything now.
Okay.
Not work.
But just there has to be a downtime.
Yes.
You can't have always that, you know,
correct.
You're going to get burnt out.
Exactly.
You know, and creativity is required in a downtime. You know, you need the juices flowing. You need that
correct.
Flow happening.
Correct.
And that cannot happen if you're tired.
Yeah.
But how many clients have you lost like this?
So we've had to fire a few clients and, you know, I don't think we've ever felt sadness for that.
Okay.
Because we've always felt like this is our filtration process. So if we keep doing this, we'll all have better lives and we'll work with clients who want to create good work.
Okay.
And they're not, you know, in advertising, there's another thing where there's input versus output. So there are clients who are concerned about input and there are clients who are obviously concerned about the output. Now the output clients are fine because they are like, what am I getting, right? The input clients are the worst to deal with because they are thinking, how much effort has Pranita put into this? And not how good is the creative.
Okay.
So how much effort Pranita has put, what do you have to do with it? You look at the output, na?
Yeah.
You should be output oriented. Why are you input oriented? So then those are the things where, you know, where we're like, okay, this is a red flag. Sorry, this is not happening. You know, we know that we have a retainer for a year. We'll do 1 month notice period, but that's all that we can do. We will have to like, you know, part ways in a month.
You know what? You are so inspiring. The world needs such leaders.
Yeah.
You know, and obviously soul leadership is where I come in, you know, and believe me, I talk about this even in corporates when I do training programs. You know, I do one-on-one sessions with people who are at very senior management level. And believe me, there needs to be someone who says,
bus. Yeah.
Bus ho gaya. You know, if you are, you know, you are showing your own values. If you cannot value your team.
Correct.
And also you can't value yourself.
Exactly.
You know?
My thing is, don't text me on a Sunday because one, you are working on a Sunday. That's problematic for me. Second, I also don't want to work on a Sunday. I also have a family to take care of. I have friends I want to meet. I have a social, you know, there's social aspects of things that I want to take care of. I don't want to be talking about work all day, yaar. I don't want to talk about it on Saturdays and Sundays. So I will leave you alone. You also leave me alone. So it also comes from caring about yourself.
Obviously.
That, saying bus ho gaya to yourself, where the boss stands up and says, agar mere liye bhi bus ho gaya hai, to tumhare liye bhi bus ho gaya hai.
Exactly my point.
It's the same thing for all of us.
You know what? This is one, I guess, my book which is coming out, Evolvement. There's one thing which I stress, and I've actually realized this. The age of our parents, okay, they were working. See, they were also working. They had a life. They were literally, going out in the morning, coming back in the evening. And for them, that was their downtime.
Correct.
Okay, I'm done. Okay, now they are with their family. They are involved. Okay, evening time we would actually go and meet people.
Correct.
Somebody's coming over. There was a social interaction happening, or you will just go. I remember the elders would just meet, and we had joint families.
Correct.
People sitting together, and next day morning you are again taking up the mantle.
Yeah.
Okay. With this coming of the BlackBerry initially, and your emails are now, and now with COVID, there is no downtime.
Yeah.
People are realizing that at home you can be as productive,
correct,
as you are in your office. And what has happened is they have taken royal advantage of this. Now every single person is like expected to be available 24/7.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember one of the meetings where I was attending in my office, and I was in the office. There was a person there who had gone for a 1 week vacation. My boss says, usko lo call pe. Okay, he is on a 1 week vacation. He's gone to his native place or wherever it is. This poor guy, he's on the highway. He says, okay, give me 5 minutes. All right. He is driving his car on the highway with his family.
Yeah.
Now, because the car is filled with people, there's going to be a lot of noise.
Correct.
And so they tell him, he takes the call. He says, oh, why is there so much noise? Okay, believe me, I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. He says, why is there so much noise? He says, he says, I'm sorry, give me 2 minutes. He steps out of the car. He finds a place where he can, but can you imagine, on a highway, okay, he has now parked his car with his family there.
Correct.
Is it safe? Is it safe for his family to be in a car? There, it's not. Yeah, it's on the side, but it's not a safe place.
Even without safety, this is just crossing boundaries, right?
It is, and he was, he stood there, and guess what? Our meeting took 1.5 hours. 1.5 hours. That guy was standing outside his car somewhere. He was standing on the Zoom, whatever. He did the conversation, and it was not like that was a do or die conversation.
It never is. That's the point. It never is.
I mean, I felt so bad for the guy. I could realize. I said, poor thing, his wife, and he had children who were 12, 13 years old, 15-year-old. I said, can you imagine what a toxic environment?
Yeah.
It's not just him, but his entire family.
No, absolutely. And it's trauma that boils down, right? Because one of the memories that I have is my father would come home and then he could have had the worst day at work, but we would never even find out.
Yeah.
And he would never take calls after, after he's come home. He just, even if he had to take a call, he would just pick up the phone and say, "Ab main ghar aa gaya hu." That's it. "Ab main ghar aa gaya hu" meant this conversation can happen tomorrow. So we also had that time with him, and that was what our childhood was about.
Yeah.
And if these people are getting this, it's just unfair.
So I deal with people who are literally facing burnout. Okay, there is stagnation, there is burnout, and they are on anxiety medication, they are on sleeping pills. This is so I know what doctors are doing right now. People go to them and they say, okay, we have a problem. They immediately write prescriptions. this happened with me. My son was not well last year or so, and I remember, yeah, he was extremely unwell. We were in the hospital. He couldn't digest anything. Guess what? Obviously, I am stressed out because I am running pillar to post, and he was already admitted in the hospital. And I go to my doctor, and I for some other medicine. I said, I needed something. It was a regular visit, and he just looked at me and he said, "Okay, I'm prescribing you an additional medicine." He didn't tell me which medicine, and I realized that I also just took it because I was not in the point of. I said, "No, he's my regular doctor." Later on, I said, okay, why am I sleeping so much? And I'm not able to, I'm sleeping extra. And it was a relaxant. I said, did I ask you for it? I called him up. I said, how dare you? He's my regular doctor. Yeah. I said, I did not ask you. He says, no, I felt you were stressed out. He, on his own, prescribed me a relaxant.
Yeah.
I cannot understand this concept. I said, obviously, there are times when I will be stressed out. You cannot prescribe something, and I don't believe medicines are the way to go. I find this is so ridiculous. I mean, I don't know what has been your, what is your experience like for this? I mean, this was crazy for me, by the way.
So I think, right now I'm on depression medication, right?
Sorry to hear that.
So I've done years of therapy.
Okay.
And, through all of those things, we've tried to change things. I went to see 3 different psychiatrists, and all 3 of them told me the same thing, that right now we are on crash mode. Okay? So you need to, because the thing is, it started affecting my functionality.
Okay.
And I told them, dude, I run 2 businesses. My functionality cannot be affected. So you need to bring me up. This needs to happen, right? So all 3 of them told me that right now we're in a mode where you need some sort of a medication to come back to the normalcy zone, where your body is able to take all the emotions in.
Okay.
Right? And then we will switch it to lifestyle mode, where you can then make lifestyle changes to make it happen.
Oh, okay.
So I think that is a better way of looking at it. I'm not saying that if you have pain, don't take a painkiller. But at the same point, I'm also saying that if you have constant backache, don't pop pills every day.
Please don't. There needs to be a logic.
So that's where I stand on this. I'm not saying I'm against medication. I'm just saying, like you said, medication isn't the solution to everything. So, yeah.
No. I'll tell you what, the thing with me I've realized is, so many of people who come to me, there was this was a classic case, by the way. I've taken on a client. I normally don't take people who are very young, because my category of people, I help people who are more mature. Okay. This fellow was, his mother said, please, we need some help or whatever. And this guy is a very nice, good guy, mature thinking, and very, very interesting guy. I enjoy my conversation with the guy. He's 19 years old. Okay. He's studying. He had, it seems, gone, he wanted some advice, and the parents took him for a therapist. And that person told him, you have PTSD, which is post-traumatic stress disorder. And now, so one day he calls me, and we've had just a couple of sessions, and he's like, okay, ma'am, I think my PTSD is acting up. And for me, it's like, okay, PTSD means you've gone to the front, you're a soldier, you've had a traumatic accident or
trauma,
some trauma, whatever. And this guy, as 19-year-old, has been told that you have PTSD because he has anxiety. So finally, I asked him, I said, what happened? What has aggravated this? It turned out he had an exam. He did not sleep the entire night before. Obviously, he's going to be upset. But imagine just putting a label onto it that you have PTSD. I actually made a video. I was so shocked by this. I made a video. I said, please don't put labels on things. Understand where the person is coming from. And with the medical science has grown to such an extent. we know the mind, we know how things work, we have solutions for everything. Why is suicide so high?
Yeah.
Why is depression so high? And actually we realize is because we don't give ourselves this downtime. This particular thing, and our mind, and you know what, it's so shocking. I know I am talking, and when I see YouTube now, earlier you used to have YouTube, you're viewing, you had laid back, you're like, okay, sitting and just watching. And now because of the shorts, you're like, okay,
I'm constantly engaged in
you're
there
engaged,
as well.
and you're like, okay, leaning forward, all right, instead of laid back, you are now leaning forward, all right. And guess what, because of that your attention span has got small.
Correct.
And now YouTube, last year came up with a feature, you can fast forward it to 1.5.
Yeah.
I was like, do you realize how literally you are messing with people's minds, where they are supposed to go slow? Can you imagine that change? Even WhatsApp says, okay, you can fast forward this, you can fast forward. What is it doing? That little fast forward is putting people back in their mind.
Yeah.
It's so weird.
And it's making us so dependent, right? Like in the sense that I am one of those people who like would switch a video on 1.5x or 2x. And there was one time when I did that for a video, and this was a video that I was genuinely interested in the material.
Okay.
Right? I generally do that for recipe videos, because there I'm just like, just tell me quickly, because I'm not,
right.
tar I don't want to hear. So, but this is something that I was genuinely interested in watching and listening to. And as soon as I clicked on that 2x, I was like, okay, wait, what am I doing? This video is 15 minutes long. I can spend 15 minutes very easily watching this. I genuinely want to hear this conversation. If it's fast forwarded, I'm not going to pay that much attention to it, because I'm waiting for the end.
Correct.
Right? I'm not waiting for information to go in my head. I'm just waiting for the end. So why am I doing this? And I had no answer, and now I'm more like, every time I'm going to take that action, I'm just like, okay, just be a little more aware. Why are we doing this? Does this make sense? Those kind of things, right. I think. That happens with me, and I'm like,
no, so when I obviously I help people through some spiritual practices, and one thing which I do is I help them slow their mind.
Okay.
So there are ways and means which we use. We use certain pranayams, we use certain meditation exercises which we have come up with, and I actually make them slow their mind. And guess what? People have left they don't require sleeping medication. They've left all their relaxants, and within a few months, it's not like 2 years or something. Max, my sessions just take max 6 months. In 6 months, people have actually left all their medications.
Wow.
And it's not rocket science. Just understanding how to slow your mind, and also if there's trauma, we obviously help them to overcome, because what has caused it in the first place, you have to take it out.
Correct.
Simple stuff, and we've been working now with people, and I have seen so much change. And guess what? They will come and tell me, why were we prescribed medicines in the first place?
Yeah.
I have no explanation. I said, if I can be prescribed medicines, like anyone can be prescribed.
Yeah.
And you are told that this is the only option for you.
Correct.
So this is something which, obviously in my book, I've obviously covered it in much detail, but this is shocking for me. Shocking is not the word. And I really want that, people should start taking their health in their own hands.
Correct.
Do not outsource your health. Like, okay, we'll have medicines, this is done. We'll do this, this is done.
Finding shortcuts.
Yeah. And so personally, when I'm stressed out, I also tend to watch TV and I'll watch YouTube. And there was a time, obviously when I'm also doing my research, I'm trying to find something or whatever. YouTube shorts keep sending you those, those recommendations and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's very addictive.
Yeah.
Once you start,
you can't stop. Yeah.
And I realized, that my screen time 1 week had crossed 8 hours. My mobile time average, okay, had crossed 8 hours because of YouTube.
Wow.
And I realized the difference in my mind. And I'm the one obviously telling people. And I said, no, I am going to, it has to be under 4 hours. That was my conscious call. I always check every day how much where. Under 4 hours, I am not going to go on YouTube. If I want to go on YouTube, I rather start the TV, check out something, but not on the mobile. On the laptop, yes. TV, yes, not on the mobile. That
Why
is a
do you
conscious
make
call.
that differentiation from mobile to
Because
laptop
it's laid back, na?
Interesting.
Okay, if it is laid back, you're going to like, okay, keep it in front of you and you're going to watch it. Do not keep the remote or the mouse pad, in front of you, because you're going to just like, okay, there's the click rate, whatever they call it, it's going to come and it's going to distract you. Like, okay, next.
Correct.
Somebody is saying something, first you choose which video you want to watch and then try to watch it till the end.
And that happens on a laptop,
That happens on a TV, because a TV, you're not going to like shift it
constantly.
And even okay, so this one thing which I tell people, and I found it really works. When your mind is working fast, you have to slow down your mind. Okay, so what I tell people is, do some regular activity like you're cooking or you're driving or wherever, and put a nice somebody speaking on your earphones, or put like, let it stay. All right, so now that your activity that you're doing, your conscious mind is there, but subconsciously you're listening. Don't put songs. Songs you are going to sing along. Okay, with a song,
so
you're not
interaction.
Thinking. There's interaction and you're singing.
Correct.
Okay, you need to make your mind listen. With the song, you're not listening, you're speaking. So once they are listening, so you're driving, you will realize that you're driving slowly. You're working slowly. It's not like, okay, you're like cooking, you're doing. But now you're listening to what the person is saying. And I generally listen to satsang. Okay, so I listen to some nice speakers. So there are, there is Brahma Kumari Shivani. I love listening to her. I listen to this Maskinji has, Sikh philosopher. I listen to him. There's Ishwar Puri. I find these, nice speakers, and people who even speak slowly. So there's someone called Muji, so he speaks very slowly, like. So now, and I'm doing some activity, I listen to them, and my mind is now going very slowly, because now I am keeping up with their pace. Okay, and it's like I'm listening. I'm listening, and I have found that that running that we do, you're just like in the rat race, that starts slowing down, and people who are depressed start finding that inner strength coming back. It's amazing.
That's very interesting.
Just try it out. I'm telling you, this is amazing. It's the start. See, there are more practices.
Correct.
There are many things which we actually do, but this is the start. Do not, and please don't, people should not listen to those songs when they are walking. Those songs, you're literally like in your mind, okay, it's okay to always be like you're looking here and this is happening with you. Don't do that. You're splitting your mind.
So with me, I can't do songs.
Okay, good.
I just, even in like, it's not just about walking. If I'm doing an activity, I can't do songs. Because songs distract me.
Okay, right? Which is good for you. And that's quite good.
Yeah. But if there is let's say, a podcast running where two people are talking, I can do that. So 3 hours of a podcast I can do while I'm like either cooking or driving or anything. But I can't do songs. As soon as a song plays, I'm just like, okay, I need to pay attention to this. And so there are a lot of times when, I start a new conversation with, I hate music. And every time I get that reaction of, what? Have you heard this song? Have you heard that song? And I'm like, it's not that I've not listened to good music. I'm just saying that I either need to be 100% involved in the music or I can't do music.
Lovely.
So I just cannot. And it always surprises people where they're like, this is a weird person who cannot do music, who doesn't like music.
Correct.
So yeah, that I didn't realize that was what I could probably be trying to do.
You're actually, this is saving you. Imagine if you would have been in that song phase, and you know what, I tell people, if you're listening to a song, all right, sing along. Don't just be, you know, like something is happening to you. Okay, be a participant, don't be an observer. So when you start singing along, there's literally, your mind is working. Otherwise it's like numbed your mind.
Correct.
You're just like, it's just okay, you're like in that zone. Don't do that. Your mind needs to work. So you know, something very interesting happened with me as well. I remember ages back, like I think 2016 or something, I went to my brother's farm. So he has a farm in Punjab. Okay. He had come to Bombay and he said, Vriin, I think you're very stressed out. You know, and that point of time, obviously corporate job tha, ye tha. I didn't think I was stressed out. I said, okay, I don't think so. You know, I think I'm pretty normal, because Bombay type, we are normal.
Yeah.
He says, no, I think you're stressed out. You're talking very fast. You need to take a downtime. I said, okay, fine, I'll come there. He said, if you come there, one condition, your mobile will be off for those few days. I was there for 5 days. My mobile was off. The last day, I had to, you know, do the web check-in one day prior.
Correct.
I started the net and the messages kept downloading, you know. I'm not kidding. Even the sound of those messages downloading, like tuck, 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 you know, they're coming down. I started getting a headache.
Panic mode. You immediately switched to panic mode.
Yeah, and that headache started. And I realized I had joined 50-60 groups, which I had no interest with. The first thing I did was, I said, just delete all those groups. You know, I don't want them. I did that. And then he later told me a story. You know, he said, you know, it's like the, you know, if you put a frog in hot water, it's going to jump out. Okay, because the frog understands hot water. But you put a frog in cold water and you slowly turn on the heat, and now it's like it's got acclimatized to, you know, whatever, and it won't realize when the heat is so strong that it will die.
Correct.
And it can't jump out.
Correct.
And somewhere people are not realizing this is what is happening. We have internet, we are completely available full time, we are you know, always meant to be on the go, running around. This is really affecting people. Imagine the number of suicides happening, we have so many hospitals. Why are there so many people with mental problems? Everyone is on medication. God, you know, Pranita, I mean, we need someone like you especially, you know, who is saying, okay, I am going to change my corner of the world.
Yeah, at least that much.
It's huge. It's going to affect, see, it's you, your clients, it's your universe.
Yeah.
You know, there is going to be a change, you know, and even I'm sure your employees will also feel that relief.
Yeah.
Okay, this is, we're going to work, we're not going to war.
I keep telling them that.
And that is like a positive change that you're doing in your corner of the world.
Yeah.
You know, you're amazing, Pranita. And
thank you so much.
And you know what, we need women leaders. We need women to come in the forefront and say that yes, this is something that we're going to do.
Correct.
And we are going to lead the way. And yes, we also need very strong women.
I think that's where it comes down to. That's what it comes down to, right? Like, as women, you just need to work a little bit harder. And sometimes I feel like that gets to you. Because you're also under this entire thing of, if I do it, more women like me will get that. So I sometimes, like in the beginning of it, I felt this pressure. Of, okay, more women are going to see me and I need to be conscious of that, and I, you know, of how I behave and how I talk and what I do and what kind of clients I take and all of that. After a point, I realized that I don't care. The entire idea was that I'm going to do things my way. I'm going to do things that I believe in. I'm going to do things that make me happy, make me proud of myself. If someone wants to take something away from that, that's not my burden.
Yes.
That's their burden. They want to take something away, they absolutely can. But I shouldn't have to be burdened by the fact that someone else might take something else away. So I should be conscious of that. So now it has become much easier for me to just do it my way, and then, you know, it becomes easier for me to justify it. Or like, if someone asks me why, I can tell them why. Because I know why I'm doing it. But when it was for other people, when I thought of it in the sense of, oh, it's going to affect someone, or if someone is going to take something from it, it was very difficult for me to make peace with it. But now I'm in a stage where I'm like, I'm doing what I want to do. So, you know, you want to take something away, do it.
Yeah. This is so great what you just said. So, by taking this stance, you know, how has it affected, you know, your own mental level? I mean, how is it, like, where are you now?
So at this point, I realized that I'm very content with and happy with where I am in life.
Okay.
Right? After being diagnosed with depression, so there was this thing that I had where I said that when I was talking to the first psychiatrist, right? He said, what do you think could be causing this? What is causing you so much stress? Then I named everything except work.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't name God.
Work. And he was like, okay, what's your schedule like? And I told him my entire schedule. And he said, your schedule is full of work. Why don't you think work stresses you out? And I told him, I love what I do. How can it stress me out? Like, I really like what I'm doing. I really like what I do for a living.
Yeah,
so,
obviously.
And a lot of people don't get that. I get that. So I'm very grateful for that. And it's not possible that stresses me out. And then we kept talking and we figured out like moments when I was stressed, or moments where my anxiety kicked in, or moments when I had a panic attack, and what happened in that time. All work. And so now I'm realizing that, and once I did realize that, it was easier for me to now delegate stuff. So there were things that I was doing all on my own. I now have managers who take care of that.
Yes.
I was running the agency all by myself. I now have a partner who takes care of the agency.
Correct.
So I've realized that I need to give myself that time. And in this entire process, only I realized that I'm very happy with where I am in life. Like, when I used to think of what kind of life I wanted, let's say as a kid, so what kind of life would I want at 27? I think I have a lot more than that. Like, I didn't even think of all of this, and I still have all of this. So I realized that I'm very happy with where I am. But at the same time, I need to work on a few issues of myself, of how I deal with things.
Correct.
So yeah,
your reaction.
Yeah.
You know, so this is something which, you know, had happened with me, and I remember even I, you know, used to tend to react very, you know, you get hyper.
Yeah.
You know, that something happens. And I remember I was working, and you know, my boss at the time, you know, Gayatri, was, so there's a call by one of the business heads, and he called up and he was screaming for some reason. I'm like trying to, you know, defend myself, you know, but this is but you know how you.
Yeah.
So she saw me, and she kind of, you know, came over and she put her hand on my receiver, and she's like, quiet. So I said, but Gayatri, this is what he's saying.
Yeah.
You know, you're like, even, you know, somebody is talking and you want to also put in, and, you know, like whatever. And I said, but this is what he's saying. And she's like, chill, cool, you know. She says, okay, what will you do now? When there's a lull in the conversation, when he's like, he stops talking.
Yeah.
You just say, are you done? Can I speak now? So now I'm waiting, like very eager, like now he'll stop. And so he stopped, and I said, are you done? Can I speak now? And he's like, no. And he starts speaking all over again. So again, I'm like, she's saying, yeah, now repeat the same process. After some time, like somewhere, you know, he's like, I said, are you done? Can I speak now? And he's like, no. And he puts the phone down. Now I am like, what happened?
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, Gayatri said one thing. She says, you are letting him take charge of the drama.
Yeah.
It's your choice. He cannot come in and, enact this entire drama for you. You're not going to react to it. You're
Correct.
not going to give in to his drama.
Correct.
Let it be. Cool, quiet. I said, now what do I do next? And just next 3-4 days. She said, next, whenever you're comfortable, go and speak to him. Don't touch this topic at all.
Yeah.
And I did that. I went over there and I spoke to him as a business head. And I'm like, normal, ye hua, wo. He's looking at me strangely like, isko kuch hua hi nahi. And I realized the power is with me.
Yeah.
Our reaction literally, cuts off your hands and gives it to the other person like, ले लो भाई.
Correct.
अब आके मतलब सर पे नाचो हमारे, and because we are going to dance, we are puppets.
Yeah. Because we don't think in that moment when we're reacting, na? It's just emotions are driving those reactions.
Exactly. So you have to take a step back, understand. So don't react, but act.
Yeah. Yeah.
Take back your own control and find that inner voice within you that says that this is where I draw the line.
Yeah.
So there's one thing which I always do, like I value a lot of self-respect. I've also worked in corporates, I've done the gamut. There's one thing, I don't allow anyone to disrespect me. My one thing is, no, I deserve respect.
Correct.
And believe me, I made a lot of change for myself. People would tell me, no, yahan to aisa hi hota hai. That didn't happen with me. So I guess, somewhere there is something which, the two of us have something which we have gone through.
Yeah.
This is not done. This is something that, we deserve respect.
Yeah, when you stand up and say, nope. No, this is not. So there have been times when, in my house, at my parents' place, before I got married, the entire thing was, if you don't come home for Diwali, that's a do or die situation.
Okay.
You have to come home for Diwali, come what may, right? I joined this job, this was my first job, and I told my bosses, I was like, I'm gonna go home for Diwali. They said, if you go, how long do you want to go for? I said, bro, Bombay se I'm gonna go all the way to Rajasthan. I'm at least gonna take like 10 days, ताकि एक हफ्ता घर पे तो रुक क्या हूँ मैं. I'm not gonna fly in for like a day and come back, na. So they said, if you take 10 days, we would have to let you go.
Seriously.
And I was like, I work like a dog here.
Huh?
Like, this is not. And they were like, no, you just can't go. You just can't go. And in my head, I just was like, because I had that thing of my mom was speaking through me, that I just have to go. There is no other option. And I said, you do what you want. I will come back after 10 days. Then you tell me what needs to be done. Right? After 10 days, I got them sweets and everything from Rajasthan. And like, they were talking as if nothing had happened. Right? And I was also behaving like that only because I was like, you said something stupid in a moment and I don't care.
Correct.
I had to go, I went. Right? And then once I came back, I realized this time it was my mom who was speaking through me. But why don't I stand up for myself if I can stand up for her?
Amazing. 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 This is what is required.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't do that when I want something. But I'm doing that because my mom will scold me if I don't go home for Diwali. And I was like, this, again, the thing of this needs to change, this needs to stop.
There has to be that inner call that, this is what I am.
Yeah.
This is the meaning of my life, that is the purpose that I live with. And, people cannot take that away from you.
Yeah.
The more, you are caged. So that's why people are like, just living their life like the rat race and just you're living and, you're stressed out, anxiety, but I am still doing that. So that has to definitely change. And I think you and I have changed our corners of the world. So nice to have you.
Thank you so much.
I think this is flown so well, and I think we really covered,
a lot of stuff. Yeah.
And deep stuff. This.
Yeah. Not borderline, like, what do you do, what, yeah.
And you know what, I've also gone through depression, I've been to the gamut, and I understand these things. So I tell, I just tell people, I said, trying to better myself, I have actually come into this line.
Yeah.
Because I realized, what all I had done, and how we have to correct ourselves. And I think this is a choice now people have to make.
Yeah.
You cannot avoid this choice
Anymore.
any longer.
Yeah.
It's reached a point that what are you creating for yourself? You're creating a demon within you who's going to eat you up.
Yeah.
People are dying young. People are suffering from heart diseases, and cancer is rampant. Mental issues, social isolation, you name it. The amount of hospitals and people are overflowing.
Correct.
This has to change, and somewhere business owners have to take that call.
Anyone in charge basically has to take that call.
Yes.
Anyone who's in charge of anything and anyone.
Yeah. I mean, it has to be even a team owner, even a team head.
Correct.
Business owners, even corporates. I guess somewhere it's not just enough to say, okay, we look after employee well-being.
We're inclusive, and we are, what is that? Great place to work. I don't think that's where it stops.
No, and you know what, for employee well-being, like I was in a company where they had a gamification module, and well-being was a gamification module. I'm not kidding. In a gamification module, they tell you that there is dose, which is, the four, dopamine and endorphin, so DO, oxytocin, serotonin and endorphin. So they say this is what is happening. So you guess which is the endorphin happening, and so it's a gamification model. When you guess it, so there's like a roar and oh wow, you're getting it. So okay, you have to focus on yourself. It's a module.
See,
so once it's done, they're like, yes, we have looked after the employee's well-being. I'm not kidding.
And the employee is just waiting to get through that so that this formality can end.
How can well-being be a module?
Oh God.
This is, I mean, you know what? Don't get me started. This is like I am.
Oh God.
So this is where I guess we are. This is a good way to help, because people really need to understand and come out of this. I think what is happening in the world, the circus.
Yeah, that we are all a part of. Yes.
So we're grateful that we've kind of made our own corners.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you so much, Pranita,
Thank you for
coming.
having me. It was so good to talk to you, and I didn't have to once think of, okay, how do I take this conversation further on? Not once, which was amazing.
Thank you so much,
Thank you so much
Pranita. It's like amazing, and I love the fact that we have a very good conversation today. And we touched good topics. Thank you so much.